Everybody, it's a Friday show. It's a Friday show. How long does it take for this thing to load? It's gonna load real slow, 'cause it's Friday show and somebody hacked the internet. Who was it that broke the internet? They broke the internet. They broke the internet. And Facebook got real mad, and then Instagram was busted too. Is YouTube's working? We never know. We never know. There we go. We're still waiting. We're still waiting. We're still waiting. I bet you thought that I froze, but I didn't. What's up, everybody? Happy Friday. Good to see you. Thank you for coming all the way out from the internet. We're here on the internet because it's Friday, and here on this channel we talk about fish stuff, we talk about whatever, because that's the way it goes. The main focus is fish, aquariums, plants, shrimps, you know, all the things that go into a glass or acrylic box. You gotta get yourself a box, you put some stuff in there, you put some water in there, and then you're like, oh lordy, it's an ecosystem. Then you want to, then once you get to that point, you're like, man, I want to refine this a little bit. Well, that's the kind of stuff that we talk about on here. If you're super confused and you accidentally came wandering in here, you're just like, I'm just on the internet tripping, and you wandered in here and you're like, what is this all about? Well, now you know. Friday's show is brought to you by the Patreonizers. If you haven't been over to the Patreon, head over there and check it out. It's www.patreon.com. Joel_C. That is us with the / in between there, right? You know what I'm talking about? And that's where our questions are definitely going to be coming from, mainly on Fridays. We talk about the questions from the Patreon, and I am trying to figure out how to live stream to Patreon, but I haven't figured that out yet. They reconfigured the website. I was working on getting the software figured out, and then they went like this and they mangled up the website and changed it, and they made it cooler. The only problem with that is Captain Me over here was like, I don't really know where all the buttons are now, so I'm learning it again, and we'll get there. And so everyone on Patreon, have your patience. I'm going to figure out how to be doing a show over there, and I'll be doing some Patreon-only videos at some point. I don't know when that's going to happen, because we got a baby here, we got the chickens here, we got the fish tanks, we got the YouTube, we got the job, we got all the stuff we got to do, so I don't know when that's going to happen, but we'll figure it out. I'm going to figure out some hot tips, for you guys. Nick's fish room tripped over Fluval and ended up here. That's awesome. I understand where you're coming from. I don't know if you guys are as excited as I am, but I did pick up another Fluval 3.0 yesterday. Gave it the old swipe on the old credit card, and picked up another Fluval 3.0. Finally, I will be able to get the last Fluval 2.0 off of the top of a tank and move it down over to the sump, because those Fluval 2.0s are not garbage, you guys. So anybody that is wondering why I'm such an advocate for the 3.0, I just find them to do fantastically with plant growth. The look of them is so much nicer. The timer, the waterproofness, all that stuff. A lot of good features with those. Really enjoy them for the price point. I did get a little bit of a discount, so just so you guys know, the Aquarium Co-op I get a little bit of a discount there. So I got a little discount on it. That's life. That's how it goes. Aquarium Co-op is one of the affiliate sponsors here, so that's one of the benefits that I personally get. You guys get something else. You guys get top-notch, first of all, customer service. And I got to tell you guys, there are some plants that the Aquarium Co-op doesn't carry, right? So I literally went to the internet and I was like, I want to find this plant that I specifically want. I want to get it, and I want to get it from the internet. That was 6 days ago. Still not here. And let me tell you something. I emailed them multiple times, and they claim that they emailed me back. And finally, they emailed me back today, and their answer was, "Oh, we're all out of that plant, and I sent you an email. Maybe it's in your junk folder." You know, and let's just say there's a lot of computers in here, and if things were just landing in my junk folder all the time, I'd probably be having some issues. So I gave the guy the benefit of the doubt. Let me go look through all of my filtered junk folders and stuff like that. Nope, it's not in there. It's not in there. So then I emailed him back, and I was like, okay, well, if you're out of that, then just go ahead and, I don't know, just add in some other plants. So then I go look at the plants they have. They don't have any other plants. I ordered 2 different types of plants from them. 2 different type of cryptocorini. You got to say it like George Farmer because it's funnier that way. 2 crypts from them, and they didn't have anything else that I wanted. Because they just didn't have anything else that I wanted. But I wanted these 2 crypts, the 2 specific plants, and I was like, well, why don't you just put more of the other ones in there then? Because the guy said, he was like, oh, well, I might get them in on Monday, but there's no guarantees, so I don't know. And I was like, well, why didn't you just email me right away when I ordered and paid? And one of those things is like, one of the reasons that I'm in a, what do you call it, professional relationship? Does that? Yeah, professional relationship with the Aquarium Co-op. Is because I know that they email people back. I know that they are tracking stuff. I know what's going on with those guys. Everybody there, and yes, sometimes they do make mistakes just because of the volume of stuff that they're doing, but they would make it right no matter what. You know what I mean? Like if something gets messed up and whatnot, they're going to make it right. And that's so far not the experience I'm having with this other company. Because now in his own words, he's like, well, okay, I guess I'll do that. But I'm not going to send it out until Monday because I don't like to ship things on Friday.
Maybe.
I don't know. Now I ordered these last Saturday, paid, and it's not even going to ship out until, 9 days later?
And they already took your money.
Yeah, they already got paid. So I don't know. It's a little bit of a mess, but here's a perfect example why I deal with the Aquarium Co-op. They would have already resolved this by now. I know that they don't have a 100% track record, but that's their goal, is to be at a 100% track record. And I don't necessarily get that vibe from a lot of companies out there. So that's why I'm 100%.
Well, Koopy was all upset when he had 2 orders go undone because they switched their inventory system.
Yeah. You know what I mean? That's a perfect example right there. Like 2 things got missed, and it's like dude is scrambling to make sure that that's getting figured out one way or another, And, that's not the vibe I'm getting from, this other company, And I'm not going to throw them under the bus because they're probably just a small company, and maybe that's the problem or something. I don't know. I don't know what the problem is, but maybe they're working really hard to improve it. I don't know, but that's why I'm in a professional relationship with the Aquarium Co-op, is because I know that they would be making it right. You know what I'm saying? So you get top-notch customer service, and then the other thing from those guys, from Corey and Fam there, is they're giving you the best deal that they possibly can, as allowed from the companies and stuff like that. I know that you guys have heard Corey say it. I'm here to reaffirm it, that you're getting the best price that you could possibly even legally put out there for some of the products. You know what I mean? Like you can't go forever. You know what I'm saying? So anyhow, let's just be over with that. But order stuff from the Aquarium Co-op. Go over to Patreon, become a member like Big D Smoke did during the show here. We started the show, and Big D Smoke coming up, joining, being a member. Mad props. Thanks, brother. Rumbust with the Swedish Crones super chat. 1767. I don't know if anybody has picked up on that, but he throws us 1 Swedish krone penny style for every day I've been sober. It just a testimonial right there. 1,767 days I have been sober, and just a little bit of a testimonial from a personal standpoint. Hey, if you're thinking you can't do that, if you're thinking you couldn't pull that off, I would tell you I thought the exact same thing. If you happen to be in that position, go to a meeting, go find somebody who's gotten sober. They will probably help you out with some answers and at least put you in the right direction and stuff like that. It's just one little step at a time, and there is a much brighter side of life on the other side of the rainbow. You know what I'm saying? It's not all a pot of gold. It's just and maybe not all the grass is green, but it's just, at least there's grass. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Yeah.
Doesn't have to be mud.
It doesn't have to be mud. You could be living in a mud bog. Nebraska SXHC with the $1 tip jar action. Thank you very much. Big D Smoke with $5 super chat says, guess whose bank finally sent him the right debit card? It's glad to be on the right side of having a working debit card. That's what I'm talking about. Fish Tank Barn would like the 2.0 instead of the 3.0 since I have a Neptune. He has an Apex controller. He doesn't need the timing features. I like the 3.0 instead of the 2.0 because of the 2.0 is on PAL, and the 3.0 is on NTSC. Is that right?
Right.
NTSC, yeah. So when I film, I don't have to worry about it. So the 2.0, you have to turn it up to 100%, otherwise it puts all these wacky, wavy nonsense in your footage. Whereas the NTSC, you can have it set at anything. Any level, any brightness level.
Yeah, and the frame rate doesn't get all screwy.
Yep, and the frame rate looks legit. So that's one of the big deals for me. But I could see why somebody would want the 2.0s because you could just rock them on a timer.
The 3.0 also lets you get rid of blue and red light, change the spectrum.
Yep, you can change the spectrum way more than the 2.0. The 2.0, you can do it with some tape, as we've learned. You can get some electrical tape and just cover up the little LEDs that you don't want. Hey, and that works. That's the analog way instead of the digital way, right? Aaron Decina, hopefully I'm saying your name right, with the $5 super chat says, Bada Bada breeding tips. Got hard Texas water, very alkaline, pH of 7.4 to 7.6. Thanks for being awesome. What do you got, Jay? You got breeding tips?
Off. I've never bred a betta.
No, the Bada Bada.
Oh, Scarlet Battis?
That's what I'm thinking.
Or is that Dario?
I'm Google searching it because I can't remember off the top of my head, but I'm pretty sure that I haven't bred these myself. Hold on. All I'm getting is beta fish on that search, but I'm gonna need a little bit of clarity. I've heard the Bada Bada before, and that maybe that's just like a nomenclature to an area somewhere, maybe.
Yeah, I don't know. That's not familiar for me.
Oh, I should probably add source.
If someone knows how to breed Scarlet Battis, the Dario, then I think a lot of people would pay them a lot of money.
I'm gonna add Jay in here. All right. We got a guest today. Since he's talking, we gotta ask him some questions. We're gonna see what's going on. We got Jay Swift in the Foshizi, and I'm adding him in real quick. There he is right there. He's checking his phone. He's reading your guys' chats and stuff. So hopefully if we could get some clarity from Aaron on exactly what fish are you talking about, because I'm drawing a blank right now in my brain. I'm sorry. It's been weird. I'm trying to... Let's see. Beta malacalensis. Let's see. Read the chat. What do we got here? I'm trying to scroll through the chat and see if we got a follow-up or anything. I'm not seeing one. I'm not seeing anything from Aaron popping up. Well, hopefully we can, I don't know. Hopefully we can get some clarity. I want to see what's up there. I don't want to not answer your question, but
yeah, I haven't found it.
Maybe we could find the fish. If you could give us the Latin name, and then we could figure it out. Jesse DeShields built my 50-gallon sump last night. It is refugium, filter pads, K1, ceramic rings, and a return. I plan on having an Oscar, and a Jaguar cichlid. I have two 300-watt heaters. How should I place and run them? I typically run my heaters on the front end of the sump, so wherever the water's returning from the tank down into the sump, I normally keep the heaters right there. But as long as they're in flow, they're going to be fine. I wouldn't be too worried about it as long as they're in flow. Just don't leave them in a dead spot where there's not a whole ton of flow going by. That's really the only thing to worry about with them being in the sump, honestly. And then you can probably just put them in a spot where they fit the best for you. Byron Volman stopped by to say hi. Got to get ready for the Oregon Shrimpers and the WVAS meetings tomorrow. See you there. I will see you tomorrow. Those of you down in Oregon, swing by the WVAS meeting. I will be there in person. There's a shrimp meeting during the day at noon to 3, which I might be late for, so bear with me, you guys. I'm traveling pretty far. And then in the evening, there's a meeting in the evening. I keep like not knowing the exact time of it, but it's in the evening time. Hey. And I'll be there, be doing a bit of a presentation and a talk and a Q&A and all that kind of stuff. I try to keep it kind of loose. I don't want to be exactly just spitting game at people. So we'll probably have a little bit of back and forth. It seems like it's a pretty tight group of people there, and I think, you know, instead of me just preaching to the choir, I'm going to probably do a lot of answering questions and stuff, and I'm going to bring a bunch of old photos and stuff like that to kind of show you guys some of the progress of things that I've worked on over the years and certain things I've figured out.
Yeah, feel free to derail him. Ask him all the questions.
Oh, Aaron Decina says Beta Splendens. All right, the old RFT joke.
I thought that's what he was talking about.
I had like a glimmer of something floating around in my brain pan, and I was like, oh, okay. Tips on the Beta Splendens. You shouldn't be too worried with your pH. It really shouldn't be that much of an issue as far as breeding goes, or even just taking care of them in that Texas water that you got. I wouldn't be that concerned about it, but what I would do is get a good amount of mosses and things like that you can grow pretty simply with them. That's going to add to a lot of available food and stuff once they are breeding. And then one of the systems that I found to be the most useful was 5-gallon buckets stacked up. So, and the way that I'm saying stacked up is you would want like one tier up here and then one tier in the front of it. And it keeps it really, really organized. It doesn't seem like it. It sounds weird, and it doesn't sound organized and whatnot, but trust me when I say it will. So you go one 5-gallon bucket up at the top, and then one lower, and then one third bucket. And I'll get to the third bucket here in a minute. And then each bucket you want to start with just simple filtration or maybe just plant filtration. Don't go too crazy on your filters and stuff like that. You could do like a little internal filter, but don't go nuts. Keep the room warm, but not crazy. You just want to keep it in a warm room. Doesn't need to be nutty hot or anything like that. And you start out in the top tank. That's your breeding tank. You're going to end up with a bubble nest and all that. Then the next tank, you're going to move the female to into the second tank, the bucket. And then eventually you're going to take the male out of the third bucket, hold him in a little container once he's hatched all the babies and stuff from the bubble nest. Eventually he'll start to eat them, after like day 2 or 3. But you're going to take him out of that tank, or which I'm saying tank, but bucket. You're going to take him out of that bucket, hold him. Then you're going to take all of the babies out of that bucket and move them into the third bucket, which you've been growing moss and infusoria in and everything. Move them down into there. Lots of free-floating food, all that kind of stuff. Then leave the male in the original bucket where everybody bred in. And that system, it seems to be 100% the best one that I could advise for anybody, is to do the 3-bucket system, basically. Is kind of the best way to go about it.
Yeah, you really need space for all 3 groups, because otherwise you either get a dead fish, a bunch of dead fish, or way too many fish.
Or just too many fish. There's too much going on. But yeah, if you're gonna get into beta breeding, I recommend it because it's a lot of fun for sure. But it does end up taking up a lot of space. You do end up needing to get a lot of tanks and stuff like that. It just does take a fair bit to deal with it. RJL says U.S. standard is NTSC. That's right. Candy Overhaul says, "Oh, Swift. That's right. Swift Aquarium is our guest today. If you guys haven't figured it out yet." Mark Potteroff with a $5 super chat says, "Hey Joel, first time able to watch live. What size and how many 3.0s would you recommend for 120 that is 60 by 18 by 26?" I pretty much have that exact tank, except mine's 60 by 24 by 24. So it's about the exact same dimension. It's a 120-gallon tank. If you're doing like only low light plants, so basically like I have one of those set up with just a Nubius in it, one Fluval 3.0 is plenty of light. Now, if you're talking about my 150 that has like a lot of highlight plants and stuff in it, I actually have two on that tank, but they're not on 100%. You know, they're kind of dialed back a little bit. They're both maybe on 80%, something like that. And that's two of them is going to be quite a bit. If you go any more over than that, you're just you're going to be in a nightmare.
Well, they'll just all be turned down to 7%.
Yeah, well, yeah. I mean, if you wanted to get like some kind of crazy coverage, but if you got one of those 48 inches, maybe supplemented it with an old light or something like that in the meantime while you saved up for another one. And by the way, whenever people bring that up to me, like I fully understand it. I get where you're coming from. I'm not like it's no mystery to me that they are expensive. I get it. They're 100% expensive. They're much cheaper than things like Kessels and stuff like that, though, so I would definitely keep that in mind. They aren't the most expensive. I feel like it's the best value for the dollar, though, and they'll definitely last a really long time.
The cool thing about having two is, like, you can have a low light on the back and grow a whole bunch of Anubias, and you have a highlight in the front and have a carpeting plant that's annoying to grow next to Anubias.
Yeah.
And you end up with, you know,
levels. Tiers.
Yeah. But you don't need 12 Kessels to do it.
Yeah, you don't need you don't need to sell your car and your house and then live in your fish tank, which is good. All right, guys. Well, I didn't really see too much in the chat here. Hopefully, we answered all of the chat. We're gonna go over to the other. What is the scene 4? Oh man, I forgot to do this. Hold on. There we go. Okay, we have to go over to scene 4. Then I have to move the chat. Then I gotta go like this. Haha. Then we turn on the window region. There we go. Haha, I did it. I did it right this time, guys. Oh, but then I accidentally put the chat in there. Ooh, how am I doing this? What? Oh, there we go. Okay. It took me a second to get it all lined up so I could still read everybody's chat. Oh, Candy Overhauls with the post. She's hot with the links there in the chat. Thank you, Candy. Very much appreciate it. Hold on. Here we go. What do we got here? Oh, we got 900 emails coming in. So sorry to anybody that didn't... sorry to anybody that didn't get your chat in to... Or get your post into Patreon before the show started. Once the show has started, that's what we got. So, we're going all the way back to March 8th. This is like right after the show last week. Grassy Peak says, just finished with the Wednesday show. Bring on the chicken videos and have Victoria do the narration. Great radio voice. Cheers from Chris. And you guys will see me. I hit the little heart button. That's how I keep track and make sure that I saw everybody's comments and stuff like that. Thank you very much, Grassy Peak. What do you think, Jay? Should we have Jay or Victoria do the narration? What do you think?
She has much better voice than I do.
It's not working for you?
I think I'd set everyone asleep, you know?
Everyone was asleep?
They'd all fall asleep listening to me.
Oh. I have to move your
well,
camera.
People have admitted that they like listening to you
Jay got taller.
to fall asleep. I could shrink.
No, don't shrink. Move the camera.
Just working on my posture.
Way easier to move the camera
Posture is the key.
than for you to shrink. God, you so stuck. That's fine. It's fine.
Problem is, my view of where I am is a minute behind.
Yeah. Yeah, you're behind. Yeah, so don't worry about that. All right. Okay.
Well, Victoria has to talk about her crazy chickens.
Well, that's true.
They're scared of their new UFO box.
Yeah. Vicky ordered this new nesting box, and so I put it in there, and the chickens are freaking out. It's just not normal. They are losing their minds about what's going on over there. Laura Morgan would covering a couple of the blue LEDs on the Stingray over my 20 high slow the hair algae down. I would say yes. The blue LEDs are doing more for the visible portion of the tank than anything else. So there shouldn't. I forget how much blue there is on the Stingrays, but you might as well. I wouldn't. After a lot of all the years of testing high pressure sodiums, LED floodlights, T5s, T8s, T12s, compact fluorescents. What else? What other lights? I don't know. I've tested so many lights over the years, and the blue spectrum is a little helpful for photography and viewing. So it does make it pop a little bit. It makes the fish look cooler and stuff like that, but it's not doing a ton for the plants.
Yeah, it makes
necessarily
silverfish look cool in blue light.
Mm-hmm.
Like if you have, what are those? Dwarf Praecox rainbows, dwarf neons.
Yeah,
those guys look really cool under blue light.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so I mean, it's more of a visible thing than anything else. I don't see it being like, it's not a huge benefit for the plants and stuff like that. So I wouldn't be super stressed out. And if it kind of calms down your algae, I would give it a test, do it for a week, see what's up.
Yeah, but the cool white LED has a lot of blue in it already.
Yeah, that's true.
You might not need the extra blue.
You might not need extra blue. And typically the blues are just there as like, these are the night lights, and they just all turn on all at the same time. So I wouldn't be that stressed out about it.
I cut the traces in my old Stingray.
Did you just cut them out?
Yeah, I just cut them out. Don't try it. You're gonna break it if you try it.
It's probably gonna break.
It's probably gonna break. So
yeah,
just be willing to solder more wires to a light if you're gonna cut a trace to make electricity go around it.
You got to be ready to do those tiny solders. Oh man, we got a post from Jay here.
Oh.
Who's Jay Swift? What a weirdo.
Oh man. Circled and arrowed.
We had a circled and arrow. I like it. Says, I'm a grandpappy. White cloud fry spotted in the 12-gallon tank. This is the phone photo. I'll try to get a DSLR shot this weekend. Did you get a DSLR shot this weekend?
I did, but it's hard to put DSLR stuff on the internet because you have to phone, you just kind of plug it in. It goes. DSLR, you got to take it out, and it has to go through Photoshop before it goes onto the internet.
So you got to have a Canon, man. You just Bluetooth that straight to your phone.
Oh, yeah. Well, yeah. My Nikons are they're all old and dumb. Yeah. You need dongles.
Dongles.
Yeah, little GPS dongles. And
ain't nobody want to be in that dongle game, you know what I'm saying? That's just not good. That's just... No.
It's funny when you're standing 6 feet away from a tank to take a zoomed up photo of a fish.
Yeah. Chuck, I'm trying to go macro. I had to use a macro lens to take Jay's photo today, and I realized there's probably not enough room in here to actually get the portrait because it's 100 millimeter, and I got it on the 80D, I think, right? Yeah, I've got it on the 80D, so it's actually 160 millimeter.
Yeah,
because of the crop factor.
Yeah.
I'm I don't know. Well, let's see if we can get it. It's not exactly the clearest picture I've ever taken in my entire life, but it works for YouTube. So, but Kelly Peterson sent this in on the 10th of March. Says, it's been a month since I was at the Green Bay Aquarium Society swap. Still trying to work out how I ended up the secretary. I still owe beta pictures. Okay, this is Ulysses, the yellow koi. He's the one I was supposed to buy. Photo of my impulse beta next. Man.
like that beta.
I like that beta too.
That's like your Bumblebee beta.
I hardly even do I don't even do the betas anymore, but this kind of makes me want to get back in the beta game. But I'm not going to. I'm not going to.
He looks a lot like your little...
It feels like if I was to get back into the beta game, it'd be like I'm trying to play the YouTube algorithm game. You know what I mean? Like,
well,
I gotta get the popular fish that gets searched a lot on YouTube, and then I'm gonna do that.
Have you ever seen the dislike to like ratio on Aquapro's beta videos? Sometimes they're terrible.
Yeah,
People,
that's just Mike.
The beta hate comes along, pretty hard and fast with betas.
It could just be Mike though.
It probably is just Mike too.
It could be. It could just be anything.
The bro with the beta.
Oh, okay. Well, I'll check it out when I'm at his house tomorrow. I'll see what he says. I'll try to get it on film. I'll try to film him. Hey, man, what happened with the like to dislike ratio here? He'll probably get mad at me.
People get mad because, like, beta's sitting in, like, a dirty tank for 7 seconds while this dust settles.
Oh, was he moving?
He's moving.
Was it when he was moving?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah, people always get mad about stuff like that, where it's like, look,
the fish comes from a puddle. Like a dirty puddle.
Like a dirty puddle. Yeah.
Yeah.
They do. That's why they have the labyrinth gill. They're able to, even if they get in crazy bad water for a little while, they can still breathe and do all right.
That's why they're all colorful too, so you can be seen.
Yeah, you got to be seen.
It's like the discus thing.
You got to be seen, not heard.
They appear 3 inches away from you because the water's that turbid.
The water is gross where discus come from. I remind people of that. Kelly Peterson sent in, here's Perry Johansson, the Marble Impulse Beta. That's a full name. He's got a full...
That is, yeah.
I wonder if he's got a biography, too. He was one of the 2 leftovers the breeder was not wanting to bring home. I bought this and my friend picked up his Impulse brother. Hashtag no regrets, as he's the friendliest, most tuned into people beta I have ever had. Excuse his blurry face. This little jerk hasn't figured out posing for photos yet. One of the reasons I got the EOS RP is for taking more pictures of sprightly fish like this. We're able to actually get the face in focus. I think, I forget who it was. I think it was Gerald Undone that was the final straw convincing me on that, because I'll actually be able to use the EOS RP, the new camera. I'll actually be able to use it as a stream camera, too. You can actually use it as a studio camera. It's a clean HDMI out.
All compressed and everything already?
Clean HDMI out.
Nice.
Yep. And then the computer just crushes it into XSplit.
And then you can have fancy lenses on your stream camera.
For the studio.
You could macro your stream camera.
We could do macro up-close shots on people in the studio. Oops, I forgot to hit the continue reading button. There we go. Luke Locken sent this one in. What do you got? What does Luke got? Just got 4 Amano shrimp about a week ago. Put them in with my beta in his 10-gallon. So far, so good. One has even molted already. The problem is he doesn't look like the other shrimp. They are more clear, and he is more colorful with a yellow line down his back. Never had shrimp before, so I was wondering if you could take a look and see if he looks okay. What do you think, Jay?
I've had Amanos get colorful lines like that. I don't know if that means that he's not molting, but I don't know.
Yeah, I don't think it's about molting or not. I've definitely seen a lot of Amano shrimps with the line down the back. It looks really reminiscent to the line that Neocaridina's cherry shrimp will get down their back.
Yeah.
It's really not a bad thing. I think a lot of it just has to do with diet and stuff like that. Like you could see today the bamboo shrimp in the bamboo shrimp tank. You can see how many of them are turning red.
They're like orange, red.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
They're all getting ready to molt.
Okay, yeah.
So that's basically what's going on there. It will freak you out with the bamboo shrimp. It's like, they're all turning red. They must be dying. It's like
they look like lobsters.
Yeah,
in the pot.
They're just all getting ready to molt because they've been eating a lot.
Yeah.
So
yeah, I've had some Amano that turn really dark too. Like not get a bright yellow light, but get a dark black line on the back of them. Color form.
Yeah. Yeah, it's all about getting color for them, that's for sure. Yeah, the Amano shrimp definitely wouldn't stress out about this. Totally normal coloration. And, it's definitely not an indicator that makes me go like, oh no, something's wrong. Everything's fine.
Yeah, when it goes all the way up on their like rostrum and everything, it's not a shell thing anymore.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I wish there was a mini Amano. Because, like, I can't have an Amano in my 12-gallon tank. Because they'd climb right out.
They would climb right out. You'd need a lid. That's for sure.
I have a lid, but I have to have holes in the lid so, like, air can get in.
This Aquarium Co-op is uploading videos while I'm live. We're going to have to karate chop Corey, huh?
Sorry, headphone users.
What is that? What's that?
Oh, I whispered into the mic.
Sorry, what?
Headphone users.
Oh. Hello. I'm in your left ear or your right ear. I can't remember. Let's see what we got here. Vapor deposition music. How come dosing CO2 from base level 15 parts per million to 30 parts per million when under light doesn't contribute to pH shock? pH drops about 1 point plus or minus 5 kH. What do you got, Jay?
I mean, that's a pretty average range of CO2 that just exists in water.
Yeah.
So,
the
day-night cycle of CO2 is going to be close to that anyways.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, the daytime, or sorry, not the daytime, but the sort of resting CO2 level in water is sort of like 7 parts per million is like nothing. It's just nothing crazy going on with it, right? It's just kind of, here's some water, and it's got a tiny bit of CO2 in it. When we inject CO2 into the water, we're shooting for 40 to 50 parts per million. And that's right when the lights come on. And, we're hitting that mark, and then it's going to deplete it throughout the day. Obviously, we're recharging it as the day goes on, like we're still injecting it, trying to maintain that level as much as possible. But the plants are really, like, they're going to use up a lot. And if you're sitting at 5 kH, you should be fine. I don't think you would even really see the pH move all that much. I mean, it might, like if you were at 7, it might drop to 6.8, 6.6 at 30 parts per million, probably.
Yeah, but it's
I'm
going
to think of the math there in my head.
I'm not going to do math on television.
Math heads brains. I wouldn't see it move that much at 5 kH, really. I mean, the water's fairly well buffered at 5. I mean, it's not off the charts or crazy or anything like that, but 5 kH is enough to not put the pH like totally out of whack.
Yeah, so what I found is when I had a fish room in the garage, which had a lot of air exchange because it was an old garage.
Yeah.
My CO2 would be lower, so I'd be like 8, 9, 10 parts per million CO2 in the water. And then when I had a fish room, or when I have my fish tank now in my house, the air quality I think is worse. So I have higher CO2 in my tank just from people and dogs breathing on it.
That's weird.
So I think my house is too tight.
I would say it's probably more temperature related than anything else.
I mean, I tried to keep everything in the garage at like 72 just because I didn't want to pay a lot of money for heating tanks.
Yeah. I would almost think it was temperature more than anything else, but it also could be partially like the indoor heat and stuff. But air is, our air is at 410, 411 parts per million CO2.
Yeah.
So it shouldn't be.
It shouldn't
be that far out.
It does go up. Like around here, a lot of the houses are older, so you don't end up with the tight house issue. But in a lot of the new construction, they have to like force air. They have to have air exchangers built into them.
Oh yeah, that's true.
They're building them all super like LEED rated and everything. So
yeah, like I had to add all these vents and stuff because of all the
new insulation.
All the new insulation.
Yeah, it's a good
which was
problem to have.
dumb. It was stupid because I'm like, oh, it's gonna cost more money. Rad.
Right.
Thanks, guys.
Right.
Thanks for inventing stuff.
Thanks for making my house warm.
Although we are using like way less energy to heat the house now, so in a dramatic way.
Yeah.
We haven't even done the walls yet.
Dude, that's gonna be a lot. I mean, it's like 60%, 70% through the roof, and then
Yeah, we did the roof. We did the whole.
yeah.
Yeah.
But still,
We're probably not going to do the walls.
if you already, I mean, it's the cost, you know.
Well, also considering in Washington, have you seen that they're trying to pass legislation to get rid of natural gas?
Yeah. Well, we have a lot of cheap electricity.
That we do, but electricity is more expensive than a natural gas.
Yeah, for heat. Yeah,
We
for
have
sure.
cheap electricity in Wenatchee.
Well, it's still like 6.5 cents per kilowatt hour here,
I know, but
which
it's
is half the national.
which is more expensive than burning natural gas in our high efficiency furnace.
Yeah, per BTU. It's
Yeah.
yeah. When you're just trying to burn stuff
Yeah, it's create thermal.
to create heat,
hmm
yeah, burning stuff is really
What does
good at that.
BTU stand for?
British Thermal Unit.
Oh man, yes. Yeah, we like that. I gotta give you an arrow. Hold on. We gotta give Jay an arrow. Where's the arrow?
Oh man, I love the arrow.
There's the arrow. Oh no, it's behind something. Arrow. I have to move it up.
I did go to school for engineering.
You did?
Yeah,
That's what you went to school for, right?
that's what I went to school
like
for.
all together.
Yeah.
Because I remember, like, I think the first time you and I met, we were talking about you were working on the long distance electric car, right?
I did.
Or one of, you
Yeah,
know,
and
I
the-
mean, not the,
and
you know,
the
it's the only one in the whole banana,
and,
right?
And the Formula car too. Yeah. Yeah.
Right.
Aerodynamics was my what
That's
I
your
liked
jammy?
doing. Yeah.
That's
so,
your jammy.
So like,
We got to get your CNC machine hooked up.
yeah. I mean, it weighs a few thousand pounds, and it's in like 5 crates, but we could put it together.
Yeah, we have to assemble it.
Yeah.
It's not one piece that weighs 2,000 pounds. It's a whole bunch of parts.
No, each box weighs like 600 pounds, and I had to put it up on a U-Haul by myself.
Hey, man, I'm just saying. I built a giant shed for Corey. That was a flat pack shed. It weighed like 1,200 pounds.
Yeah.
So,
yeah. Exactly.
we could do it.
Same deal.
We could do it.
We should put that thing together because it's a CNC machine, big router.
Yeah, we can start making some custom parts.
Yeah.
And I'm not going to tell you internet guys what we're making custom parts for. You'll have to find out down the road.
Yeah.
Because you and I haven't even talked about that yet.
No.
But I got an idea clicking around in my head from yesterday. You know.
Long term.
Chirish, who's a member, by the way. You can see that bright green arrow. New member. Got some shrimp and fish yesterday, sat in the mail for an extra day, so I ran home on my lunch break when they arrived and got them into their tank. Everything survived, and I got back to work on time. Boom!
Nice.
I wish I could give Chirish an extra arrow, but I don't know how to do that right now. I've got so many things on the screen. Speaking of things on the screen, Jay and I are about to address Dominique Nadeau on the 11th. And then, so I've started my project this weekend. The first thing to do was the stand. Changed my plan because I found a 50-gallon with a melamine stand for $50 CAD. That's a computer-aided drawing, right?
Yeah, or cardboard assisted design.
So you got 50 of those and gave him for the melamine stand, right?
So in American dollars, what's that, like 6?
Teen.
Well, like it's probably literally like 25, but the Canadian dollar sucks right now.
I bet you it's like 30. What is it? It's just, is it 2 to 1?
It's like 2 to 1. Well, I don't know.
I think it's a little
been
bit
so
less
variable.
than 2 to 1.
We're kind of screwing up our own currency too.
Yeah,
so,
we're having problems over here too.
yeah.
Don't worry, we're all having problems, you
Still,
guys. But
that's
50
cheap.
Canadian, that's pretty good for a stand.
It's probably less than the materials.
So to sand it down, put a coat of primer on, 2 coats of paint. Took all weekend because I've waited 24 hours between each coat, which is the way to do it, honestly, you guys. I mean, you got to take your time with this stuff. And here's the next post in the thread of getting it going. But definitely take your time when you're building something like this or refinishing something. That's like 9 times out of 10 when I find people have problems with like refinishing furniture or doing anything like that. It's just they didn't go slow. They're trying to do it super fast.
Skip a sanding step.
Skipping sanding steps, not letting it cure properly, not making sure that the temperature in the room is correct. I don't know how many times I've seen people where they just left painted stuff in like a 40-degree room.
Yeah.
And then they're like, I don't understand. It's like all messed up. And you're like,
why does it look like an orange?
yeah. Can't do that.
Yeah.
But I like this. You definitely got to take your living room or whatever room this is apart a little bit. Oh, maybe that's like a bedroom because this looks like a shelving unit over here with some DVDs on it. It says, and this is the final product. Still waiting at least 5 days before putting it back together. Edit. I don't know if this is allowed to post link to another website, but I'm also doing a journal on the Planet Tank forum. Here's the link if you're interested. It's a longer version of what I'm going to post here. That's awesome, you guys. I 100%. This is one thing I've mentioned before. Like, I don't understand why there aren't more companies that just become Patreons. You know, you could just become a patronizer and post like once a week an ad for your business.
Right.
I mean, I don't know about anybody else, like whether or not they actually cover the stuff in their Patreon, but I do. You literally could, like, for as little as $1 a month. Now, that just seems like weird to say that out loud, but as little as $1 a month, you could get some advertising as a company. And just be like, check out Swift Aquariums. You know what I mean? Like, even if you had like a YouTube channel, you could literally like post links to your YouTube videos or whatever. I encourage people to do that kind of stuff. You got to get it out there somehow, and posting it to Facebook is just a bad idea, right?
I do so many nerdy tests, so there's probably someone who would enjoy. Like I go all the way, full science nerd experimentation, control groups, those sorts of stuff when I'm doing tests. Like right now I've got 3 10-gallons that I'm going to do a ammonia absorption test because Corey said no one's ever done it with data that he can just show someone. So I was like, well, I've got a whole can of ammonia and all the time. It's going to be easy.
It's going to be easy, right?
Yeah, you got a blank one that just has an air stone, and you got to measure the amount of air that's going through the pipe to it. Measure the water flow. I got all the sensors.
Right.
So I'll just measure that, and I'll just know like a blank tank eats that much ammonia, and then you put other filters in place and see how much more ammonia you can get out of 3 blank tanks, and they're all blank. They don't, you know, they're all. It's just 5-gallon buckets.
Yeah. That makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The cool. If you click that link to Dominique's thing, he's putting a sump on it.
It's good. You like that?
Or she, I don't know.
I got to put a sump
You're
on
putting a sump
Bentley's
on it.
tank pretty soon.
Ooh.
And I think we got to build a stand for Caitlin. I'm going to try and build those both at the same time.
How many tanks is Caitlin getting? Just
She
one?
has one, but they built a cinder block and boards. I can't.
Corey's video is too effective.
I can't endorse that behavior. That is like
His video from 3-4 years ago.
that is like, I made a TV stand, guys. I'm like, what? I made a dining room table, guys. I made a bookshelf, guys. You're like, I understand that you have a fantastic imagination as to what these cinder blocks and a couple of 2x4s are.
So it doesn't offend me that somebody like does that, because that might be all their DIY skills let them get.
Yeah, but
right?
ask Corey how much he likes his fish room now compared to having all the cinder blocks all over the place.
What worries me more is like around here, there's freaking volcanoes and earthquakes and things like that.
Yeah.
So like your cinder block,
There's a volcano
tower.
right out the window.
yeah, your cinder block
trust
tower
that
is just
thing.
gonna fall over.
Could fall over.
You know, sure the walls are gonna like shake and shimmy, but if you had stuff that was sturdier and strapped to the wall, then it's not gonna fall over.
Chances are better that it's not going to fall over, yeah.
Yeah.
Brandon Skelly says, what would you guys say is an actual acceptable ammonia level before your fish are getting unhealthy? Straight up 0? Yes, straight up 0. 100%. There's just really no reason you should have any ammonia in your system. It should be cycled. And, you know, it being 2019, there really isn't an excuse to be like, oh, I've just got a bunch of ammonia in here, whatever, it'll figure it out. You know what I mean? Like, we have the tests. We know what bacteria is. We know what the bacteria is doing. It's going to denitrify. It's going to take that ammonia, turn it into nitrite. It's going to turn the nitrite into nitrate. And if you're like me and have a planted aquarium, the nitrate's going to get used up by your plants. Boom. There's your cycle, kid. As Brandon says, sometimes it's hard to see the difference between 0 and 0.5 on these test kits. Yeah, I mean, there just really shouldn't be any ammonia showing up. So if you're really getting any kind of reading, I would either double check the test strip, see what's going on, or get a liquid test kit. I probably ran about 150 water tests yesterday, working on some big planet systems actually for the Aquarium Co-op. That's actually what I was doing yesterday, is working for the Aquarium Co-op. So I was up there doing some work. I probably did about 150 water tests, and we're really working on getting a operating knowledge of exactly what's going on in those planet tank systems to make sure that what's going on. Now, with no... Who is calling me? If it's not my mom, I'm going to be mad. Oh, it's Aqua Squoos. Oh, man, I missed the call. I'll have to call him back. I'm calling him back on speakerphone. We're calling Aqua Pros. He's probably gonna say something screwy.
Yeah, gotta tell him he's online.
Hey, you're on the show, caller. Huh?
Oh my gosh.
Yes. Welcome to the internet. Yeah, it's
Internet.
Aqua Pros calling in.
What did I win?
What is a new old car?
What? I mean, I already have one of those.
Oh, well, an oil change.
How about, is my prize that I get to hang out with you tomorrow?
Yes, we're gonna do that all day tomorrow.
Yeah, okay. What time are you gonna get here?
It's gonna be early, brother.
Okay, how early?
Super duper early. You better take your vitamins.
I'm frantically cleaning all my tanks so they don't look terrible.
Well, that's cool. All right, brother. Hey, text me your thing. We're gonna get back to the show.
Oh, okay. Oh, you're actually, okay.
Yeah. Aqua Pros is cleaning up his tanks because I'm gonna be there. I'm gonna film it tomorrow. I should come at him with like 3 cameras all running at the same time, huh? It'd be kind of fun.
You need like one of those like cameras over your shoulder, like third person view.
Oh, those 360 ones?
The 360.
Yeah, I
ones?
don't have one of those. That's a lot of money we can't afford.
Yeah.
Yeah, we got to sell some old stuff.
Yeah. Or you just put a cardboard box there and say that the footage died.
Like it didn't work out?
Like it didn't work out?
Yeah. But yeah, that's what we were talking about. We were talking about ammonia. You really should just have no ammonia showing up. Just get the tank cycled and you'll be fine. But the systems at like the Aquarium Co-op there, like they don't really have any biological media or anything in them. Like, if you've ever seen videos from Corey and stuff like that, they don't have a ton of air quote filtration stuff. You know what I mean? And 000 ammonia. 000 nitrite, and the nitrate, was higher, and then it slowly was ticking down over the day. But there's no ammonia in those. Those tanks are fully cycled, and there's not even like an aggressive filtration methodology going into it. It really is just water in a box, at the right temperature with flow and plants. You know what I mean? So it's not super difficult to get your tank to be cycled, and once it is, it's pretty easy to promote it. You don't really have to do too much.
Just add a snail.
Over the top kind of stuff to really keep it going. Lexi V sent in the baby fish. So I have the sad tank with the sad elephant that has no plants jungle to live in. Well, apparently that is what the surprise guppies my family bought me like. They were born while I was at work, so most of them didn't make it, but there are 2 super smart ones that have learned the I don't understand. Makar Stealth Haze. Oh no, that's from
I don't. I
that's
don't
from
know.
Star Trek, I think.
I'm sorry, I don't know Star Trek.
Grabthar and Warven. Oh no, that's what is that? Never give up, never surrender. What was that from? It was like never give up, never surrender.
That's the Tim Allen.
Tim the Tool Man trailer was in that. I
the-
think. I don't
the
know.
mocking one. What's it called? Galaxy
know.
Quest.
Galaxy Quest.
Galaxy.
Yeah, that was pretty good.
That's a good one.
Says
that
they're about a week old now, and if they make it, they will be given super names and permanent home in the tank. We'll post pictures when I can get decent ones. Yeah, I'm glad to hear that. That's always good news. If you got baby fish happening, it's always good news. Like you just can't,
Yeah.
you can't hate on that at all. And I'm glad to see it. I look forward to seeing some pictures.
Even with guppies, baby fish mean that the guppies are happy enough.
That the fish are doing well, yeah.
they're
So
doing
it's
well.
like always good that they're
Yeah.
reproducing. You know what I mean? It's like it's never a bad sign that like, oh man, these fish are breeding. I better get to work on this tank. You know, oh, it's a disaster.
Yeah, I mean, as long as you have no plants, then you might not end up with any new fish in the long run, because the babies might not have any place to survive. But you know, that means your guppy's happy, so that's good. Even if they're surprise guppies.
Surprise
Surprise.
guppies. I like surprise guppies.
Yeah.
I'd like my guppies to breed, but that's ridiculous. Jared RB sent this in on the 12th. Setting up my two 18-inch cubes, 25 gallons apiece, experimenting with the dry start Iwagumi on the right. This tank will have cherry shrimp and 24 chili rasboras. With the left tank, I'm going for a George Farmer style style nature aquarium. This tank will have 3 dwarf puffers, Puff Daddy, Puff the Magic Dragon, and HR Puff and Stuff. The tanks will share a Fluval 3.0. I have Fluval 306 and 206 canister filters, secondhand but cheap but clean and tested. I think the bigger filter should go with the Rasboras, since there will be so many more of them and they can handle heavier flow. Does that sound right? That sounds opposite to me. I would go with the bigger filtration on the puffer tank, mainly because they are messy eaters. They leave a lot of extra waste around, and that will help with breaking down that excess food. The chili rasboras really don't have that much of a what do you call that? What's the word? Bioload. They don't have that much bioload, really.
Yeah, considering they eat like their eyeballs worth of food in a day.
Yeah, they don't eat that much either.
And
Yeah.
their eyeballs are like tiny. Yeah, you Corey went on a rant, which was very hilarious,
Yeah.
about how much he doesn't like canister filters. And
Yeah, I don't understand that because I don't.
which
That's new to me.
Yeah.
He's got canister filter rage. I don't know.
But the whole trick is to have your filter set up that it kicks up all the food to get picked up by the filter,
Pretty much, yeah.
all the waste.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, you can direct flow to try to push stuff into corners and things like that.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
Yeah, I think I would just go with the bigger filter with the puffers because,
puffers can handle some pretty serious flow. Just don't make the whole tank a
don't make
whirlpool.
the whole tank all bonkers.
Yeah.
Otherwise, they'll be fine. Yeah. Yeah, so I would just invert that a little bit. James Reet. I always say your name wrong, and he gave us a little parentheses there that says James Wright. Okay, so now we know how to say it. Says still a little cloudy, but it's way better than it was. Still a work in progress. I can see where this is going to grow in and work pretty good, but I would be concerned about this water sprite from my own perspective. I'm not saying it's going to be bad for you or not, but from my own perspective, I always see water sprite every couple of years, and I buy some, and then I grow it, and it outgrows my tank, and I get super pissed and throw it out. But that's just me.
I've had 2 interactions with water sprite. Either it becomes the tank,
Yeah.
or I can't grow it.
Or you can't grow it.
Yeah, and they could be side by side in a tank, and I can get one side to grow an immense amount of water sprite, and the other side I can't get it to grow at all. It'll just shrivel up and die. It can't even grow it floating.
That is weird. I don't know what's going on over there.
Yeah.
What do you got going on? It's
When
bizarro.
I had a fish room, it was fun to like try to figure that out. But I could also not grow duckweed in tanks. Like there'd be things where I couldn't grow duckweed.
Mm-hmm.
So whatever the trick is, I wish I could tell people.
Flow.
Probably flow.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Yeah, I had 6,000 gallons per hour on a 29 gallon.
Yeah, it's out of control. You should turn that thing off. Never do that again.
Hillstream loaches like it.
That's true. Yeah. Johan sends in the planet tank is going well with simple CO2 setup. The leaves have some plants are closing before the lights are off. Did they have enough light for the day or just preparing for the night? That sounds weird to me that the leaves would be closing early before the light was going off.
Yeah, I wouldn't. They must be running out of CO2. No, they're going to sleep. Why are they going to sleep?
Yeah, I wouldn't. I don't know why they would be going to sleep early like that.
Yeah, because the whole point of that is they're opening themselves up to catch light so that they can make energy.
Mm-hmm.
And when they do that, they need to breathe. They need to respire. So the only reason I could see that is they're out of a nutrient or some component of energy that they're making.
Yeah. So something has to be going on.
Yeah.
This might be one of those cases where you are actually running out of CO2 from a high level.
Yeah.
Like maybe you're at like 60 parts per million and it somehow just hit the basement right back down to basically zero by the end of the light period. Maybe the end of the photo period. Maybe that's like the deal that's going on there.
Yeah, I wonder how long he has the lights on for.
Yeah, I'm wondering if that's what's going on because I know everybody's like the hot ticket again has been the siesta period. Everybody's kind of going. I'm hearing about the siesta period again, but that might be the possible culprit here. Is that you might be having CO2 and then it all getting used up and then dropping all the way down and causing the plants to react to the environment. So that I think is my guess right there. Derek Runyon was asking, so now that you're talking about that, how do you guys feel about canister filters? I just think canister filters are too expensive, personally.
Yeah.
I don't think that they don't work, because I think that they do work. I just think they're too expensive.
I think that...
just on the basis that, like, what is it, like an FX6 is like $300?
$350.
$350.
Yeah.
$400 after tax.
Yeah.
It's a lot.
I think that if you're going to spend money on a canister filter, as soon as you get to the $100 mark, if you had like marginal DIY skills, you could match performance with a sump.
Probably, but
and then you have a sump.
You know those sumps that are underneath the 120s?
Yeah.
Those are fancy.
Right. Yeah, those are.
I don't know. I'll
fancy
show them to you again or something.
Acrylic
But
things.
They're acrylic sumps that are built as a sump, and they are fancy. They are schnazzy, and they were less than $400.
Right. But that's what I'm saying. Like once you get to that $100,
Obviously, I had to
though,
buy the pump.
Yeah. But
that's pretty much it.
Yeah. If you're looking at FX6 canister filters, like the big dog canister filters, there's nothing really beneficial to them other than they're sealed. You know, like, but you could.
I don't see the benefit in that because, like, I don't know. I've been having a lot of arguments with people about this recently. It's the aerobic bacteria, right, that uses oxygen versus anaerobic bacteria, which doesn't use oxygen,
right,
or anoxic bacteria, whichever you want to call it.
Well, so my thing is like a sealed volume like that can self-prime. So
true.
If you need to pull water out of a tank, you don't have to drill a hole in it, and you don't have to use a siphon, like an over-the-back siphon.
Yeah.
Where you would have to do that with a sump. But some of those canister filters, as soon as they suck air, can't self-prime anymore.
That's right. They get stuck.
So it's, that positive out of them is not really there for me anymore.
Right.
Yeah. So I think if you're going to spend money, learn how to use some silicone or some, what is that? Ren Weld on 4 for and just either buy or make a sump. $1 per gallon, you can get a 40-gallon tank for $50.
Yeah, that's really my thing. Is like $1 per gallon is what kills any of the arguments.
Yeah,
because you get a 40-gallon breeder for 40. Well, like $45
Yeah.
after tax, right? And then, a pump, a good pump.
A good DC pump.
A good DC pump is like
$75, $60.
75.
Yeah.
Depending on the size of your tank, $50, something like that. You're about $100, and then some dividers and some plumbing parts.
Yeah.
Then you have like a really cool setup for like $150. Let's say $200.
Yeah. But
Then you have $200 left over.
that's like 306 territory, and you could destroy.
But I'm just saying
a
you have
306.
$200 left over to take your wife to a really fancy dinner.
Right after blowing money on fish
And I'm not saying that you might end up with a baby that's crying in the background, but there's a possibility that you go out to a $200 dinner with your spouse. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's a pretty significant benefit in exchange compared to just buying an FX6, right?
Right.
I don't know. Seems
Exactly.
like to me you're not only providing filtration for your fish tank, A, but B, you're learning something probably from getting your sump all jazzed up. Spirit fingers. And secret option C or 3, you get to live a little bit of life with your spouse and everybody's happy, right?
Marriage maintenance.
Right?
Yeah. As soon as you have room for a sump, you just put a sump on it. You either go with an internal filter,
Yeah.
or a sump.
I think realistically, I don't understand why people like sponge filters. I've never liked sponge filters. That's the one that I'm always railing against. But I get it though.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I get it on top of that, where you're like, $12, man, and it's gonna filter stuff.
So I ran Matten
and it
filters.
adds air. You know what's funny is that so people run Matten filters, right?
Mm-hmm.
And people run sponge filters, right? People run air stones, right? People run like all of these things that add air
Yeah.
to the system. And then when I talk about the difference between the difference between a canister filter and a sump, right?
Yeah.
Is that the sump is already going to be adding all this air,
Right.
like for the beneficial bacteria that you want to grow in your system, right? And then I don't know, man. I recently was having an argument with a guy. Well, not an argument. We were having a discussion. We were just talking about it, and he brought up the anaerobic bacteria because, like a perfect example would be of the septic system on people's houses. You have anaerobic bacteria in there, anaerobic and anoxic bacteria in your septic system, which is helping break down all the human waste and stuff that's going into a house septic system. And yes, that does work fantastically in that situation. It's 100% in the dark. It's not necessarily a closed system because it's getting new stuff added to it, but it's 100% in the dark. All of the fumes from it are going to be mitigated and not be re-entering back into either the house or where the people are or anything like that, so that the gas that's in there actually is helping feed the anoxic bacteria and the anaerobic bacteria that are in there. There's basically no oxygen, there's no light, there's nothing reacting going in there except for that waste is breaking down into the septic system. And that's kind of part of the theory behind the canister filters and whatnot, whereas I'm like, I don't need to promote bacteria that lives in the dark with no oxygen, because that bacteria will just grow whatever I do.
Well,
you know what I'm saying? Like if I give an environment with a lot of oxygen, with light, all that kind of stuff, some anoxic and anaerobic bacteria is going to exist.
Right.
Regardless of what I do.
They're going to go live under a rock.
Yeah. There's just basically, it's just going to be in nooks and crannies and behind things where there's not a lot of oxygen and stuff like that. And it's just that kind of thing, so I'm like, why don't I promote the one that I can promote actively, which is like, add some oxygen, add a little bit of light, add this, add that, and then go that route. And then it's like, oh, the system runs way easier and better now.
Well, so the old system from a septic system is a cesspool.
Yeah.
Right? And what would eat everything in a cesspool is plants. Like when you wanted to break down all the waste. Sure you had some bacteria that were going there and getting into smaller things, but those anaerobic and anoxic bacteria in a septic system that are actually consuming things, like living off of it, if you can just expose it to plants, plants consume the same things. So I'd rather look at plants and not smell sulfur
And not smell farts.
and not smell farts.
Whatever, man.
Then
You shall smell farts
yeah.
forever.
Plus, like, septic systems are huge. You got to think about, like, that bacteria that doesn't have any energy that's going into it other than the energy it has to pull out of a solid material works really slow compared to
It's quite
something
slow.
that has the sun shining on it. Yeah.
Oh, Terry Tropical's Tank says it's not that we want to add air. The air moves the water through the uplift tubes.
Well, so I ran Matten filters in my fish room because I could just have one pump, and so I could filter the whole fish room for $300.
Right.
Right. Like, that's why you run a sponge or a Matten thing, is if you have a lot of systems,
Right.
you can put all your money into one pump. But there's like the flow. I think that everyone needs to put an anti-siphon valve on their airline going into their tank.
Yeah, I've seen this
So
before.
that's, you know, like if you have to lift the water up through a tube, then that means you have to put an air line or a line that's full of air all the way down to the bottom of the tank. And so if that airline ever stops having air in it, then the water is going to come up that tube. And that means that you had a pressurized system that's now pushing water down to then go up a tube, which usually means it has enough momentum to get over the top of the tank.
Yeah, it
And
could.
then
I've seen it happen before.
Yeah.
I'm not saying it's going to happen all the time or anything like that, but definitely consider that
If you
in
ever
that situation.
Yeah.
But I will remind people that, like, yes, the air is what's adding to the flow to the sponge, right? But the reason that a Matten filter and a sponge filter actually operates long term, so you don't have to go clean it every 20 minutes, is that all of the bacteria and everything living on that sponge is...
it's aerobic.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
all living off of the it being heavily oxygenated right around that sponge right there.
Yeah.
That's the reason that it works. Yes, that's how the flow operates. Yes, but you would end up with just this crazy dead ammonia area if you weren't injecting all of that oxygen in there. So it's a hand in hand situation that just worked out. Basically,
Yeah.
you know, and the reason that it's been done that way so long is because it works, and that's the process of why it continues to work long term.
Yeah. I did, I don't know, a few weeks ago, I did some math just to show how much oxygen was getting introduced into an aquarium by an airstone. And, like, if you have a crazy good pump and a lot of bubbles, really fine bubbles, you're getting like 1% of your oxygen from your airstone, and the rest is coming from the top surface of the tank.
Right.
So just move the water around on the top surface, you get way more oxygen. And if you can trade it so you get that top surface moves down to the bottom and you keep exchanging the water next to the surface, that's going to get the most oxygen.
Yeah.
So
Dave Diaz says, I had a friend's 4-year-old do something to my water evap makeup container leak 5 gallons onto the carpet when I had a sump on a reef tank in 1992. Oh, yeah. I think we've all had the horror stories of getting water all over the place.
that's the one thing.
Preston John says, tried to super chat. It didn't work. Added it to the Patreon. The puffers are getting huge. Well, they're doing good. And no doubt about it, Preston is now the highest Patreon-nizer on Patreon. Well, thank you, brother. Hey, man, I appreciate it. I know people get tired of me talking about Patreon and stuff like that, but it's encouraging. You know what I mean? Like, it's just legitimately encouraging. I don't know why Super Chat was working earlier, so I don't know why it wouldn't be working now.
bunch at the beginning.
Super weird, but I don't know. That's odd. Let's see. Derek Reynolds sent in on the 14th. This is my favorite baby guppy. Any idea what this pattern is called?
Endler.
That is a often referred to as a black bar Endler is what they're called because of this little bar right down here, and this normally more pronounced on the butt tail region, whatever that hinge part is called. What is that part called there, where the tail meets the body?
I don't know. It's anatomy. I don't get that.
Yeah, where the caudal fin and dorsal fin and this area back here. But this is a black bar Endler is normally what these are referred to. And yes, one of my favorite fish to breed and keep. I love them. And someday I'll be back in that Endler game for.
It's basically just like a wild Endler.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's like the natural. That's their natural coloring. This is the coloring that Endlers are supposed to be like.
Which
like
is
if you went to go buy Endlers like 10 or 15 years ago,
That's
this
all I
is
got.
what you would have gotten. This is, I mean, it's pretty close. I mean, it would have been a little more diminished than this, but this is pretty much what you would have been looking at. Derek also sent in, my angel fry are getting bigger. Already spoken to my local fish store and agreed on a price they're willing to pay. Breeding fish is addictive. Nice. Nice. You got the local fish store on the hook, and so you have a place to sell them. Now you have a reason to breed and also an ability to keep it going. That's awesome and encouraging. It's sort of like Patreon. Right? I think so. Maritza Santiago sends in pea puffers. Hey, everybody. Would my pea puffers be happier in a long tank or a taller tank?
I mean, probably a longer tank just because there's more oxygen and more places to hunt.
Yeah. I would say longer tank because of more geography.
Yeah.
Like if a pea puffer lives in, I'm just saying, I'm making up a space here, so don't quote me on this, but let's say it lives in a 5-inch diameter area, right? And you're like, I need 5-inch diameter for each one. A long 20 versus a tall 20 would be like, I would go with the long one because it would give him more geographical space to kind of live in, moving around. Pea puffers specifically do kind of more go side to side than up and down, typically in their day-to-day affairs. So I wouldn't be so concerned about the height that direction. But if you were going to do, like, let's say some pea puffers with a schooling fish, I would probably go with a taller tank because it'll give a chance for the school to be higher or lower compared to like if the pea puffers are freaking them out, then you know what I'm saying. The school would have a space to go. Dominique Nadeau sent in on the 15th, which I believe is today, right?
Yep.
Oh, lordy, we
is
missed
today.
Pie Day. What's that?
Today's Pie Coma Day.
Pie Coma Day. Do we get free pizza? I'm hungry.
Because
again.
we had Pie Day
I
yesterday.
ate my sandwich early today, and I'm hungry again.
My wife made some blueberry pie. That was delicious. But I'm pretty sure I'm still stained purple.
I could have some blueberry pie. It's so good.
Yeah.
Anyhow, Dominic Nadeau sent this in. Another end-of-the-week update on my project. Removed the old silicone, applied the tape, and then redid the silicone. It's not a great job. My worst so far. I think I've applied too much of the stuff because when I removed the tape, the side of the silicone lifted up. Tried to smooth the edges with my finger, but no straight lines were achieved. I'll try to clean the edges with a razor blade tomorrow and test for leaks. Yeah, siliconing is an art. You know what I mean? I wish there was like some kind of super, easy way to pass on like, hey, here's how you silicone and it's super smooth, perfect every time. It's sort of like you just got to screw it up a few times and get some reps on it, and then eventually it just becomes second nature. But
Yeah.
I'm glad to see the progress on that, especially when we get to see it in one of the shows.
Just go find a YouTube video of someone making a tank with silicone and just watch them do it.
Oh, the assembly guy?
The assembly guys.
There's one video that is a good one. There's only one. I've only ever seen one, and there's only one that's a good one, and they're in like Europe or something. And this guy actually has the RTV silicone on the gun that hangs from the ceiling that's preheated from a tank somewhere else. So it has a hose that's feeding it.
Nice.
And this guy is assembling tanks,
That's like assembling engines.
and you're like, oh, it takes him 20 seconds to build an aquarium. While I stood here and stared at one of the glass panes for at least a half an hour, just trying to make sure that I had it perfectly lined up before I even set it on there in silicone. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
you watch that guy do it, and you're like, yeah, I'll never be that good.
Yeah.
That guy's awesome.
Yeah, if you're going to use tape, because, like, you're a noob like all of us, then you got to pull the tape up before the silicone dries.
Yeah, before it dries. That would be...
Otherwise, you just you glued it in.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah, you silicone the tape on there, so
silicone to do
beware of that, guys.
yeah.
Is the chat broken too now?
I don't know.
No, I don't know. James Wright sends in the 65-gallon update. Yeah, see, look, this is actually looking good from the earlier post.
Oh, yeah,
It's
way
starting to
better.
grow better. The Ponegyetin's starting to do stuff. Can't really tell exactly what else is going on. I can't click into the picture, but you guys can if you visit Patreon. The only problem is I have to back out, and then I lose my spot. M. Howie9, Mr. The Fish Tank Barn himself, sends in a clownfish update. Says, attached is an image of one of the tomato clownfish fry that I hatched a week and a half ago. Going well so far. Have about a dozen or so fry. I'm pretty jealous, my guy. Whew. It's not easy to breed clownfish, you guys. If anybody out there is wondering like why I would be jealous, because it ain't easy to breed clownfish. It's not an easy task. It's going well so far. Have about a dozen or so fry. So I am hopeful for this run. I made some changes to the lighting, moved it closer to the tanks, which seemed to have helped. Okay, so that is a really that actually is a good hot tip for anybody. Like if maybe you need to move, maybe you need more intense lighting for clownfish breeding. I mean, I wish I knew more. I just know that everybody that I've ever talked to that is really successful at doing it, I'm always just like, oh, that is like 900 steps to get into making that happen, and I'm like, I don't have time. I don't have time.
My clownfish breeding knowledge ends in Finding Nemo.
Oh yeah,
That's about all I know.
In the Pixar flicks.
In the Pixar flicks.
Yeah, they hang out in the anemones and make babies in there.
Don't
right?
raise them on the edge.
Not on the edge. Don't do that.
Yeah.
Big Bill sends this in. Can't say I'm not a little jealous of this setup.
The thing is nice.
It's a nice setup. And who needs a closet anyhow, right?
Well, like,
I mean, Bill doesn't need a closet. I don't need a closet. You don't need a closet.
right.
Clearly, the closets are being wasted all around the world that could have a dope planted fish tank in it. And his post right here says, holy easy green. I can't believe the growth. CO2 plus easy green and easy iron equals insanity, right? I mean, I don't know. I just don't know how many times I can tell you guys, just get easy green, easy iron, get a CO2, inject it in your tank, boom, you start moving in the right direction. Things start making sense. They start happening. Plants start growing like crazy. I mean, it really is just kind of that simple. Somebody asked me if it really is that simple. Yeah, it's that simple. It just is.
Look, the cool thing about CO2 for a new fish keeper, plant keeper person is that when you have fertilizers in there, like Easy Green makes it super easy so you don't have to pay attention to your fertilizers. And then CO2 lets you see your results immediately. It's not like you don't have to wait a week and see if you're doing the right thing. CO2 just, it's that gas pedal that just is like, you did the right thing, it's growing really fast.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So, and it's really not that hard to do CO2.
Makes that free carbon available for the photosynthetic process so that your plants can grow all buck wild. And that's what we all want.
I have a CO2 system. It's just not allowed to go in the tank because we are renting. And
and you have all these rules.
My wife has rules.
Jay's wife makes rules.
It's okay. I love her.
It's fine. You get a place soon.
Yeah. And then I get the garage.
Yep. Johan sends in this awesome post. He always gets us with a fish of the week. Heros efasciatus. I think I said that right. The red shoulder, red head, or rotechial severum is a distinctive natural occurring variant of the species known as Heros cf. Efasciatus, found throughout parts of the middle Amazon and its tributaries. Right?
Yep.
I'm having a good time pronouncing things funny. The strain has been popular in the aquarium hobby for many years due to its vibrant reddish color, or reddish-orange coloration and distinctive orange eyes. Like most of their relatives, these fish are fairly peaceful for a large cichlid and will usually coexist in a mixed cichlid community composed of similarly sized semi-aggressive fish. Diet is omnivorous, will accept most frozen and prepared foods. The adult size is 10 plus inches. Recommended tank size 120 gallons plus. Compatibility moderately aggressive, especially towards conspecifics, I don't know, or other cichlids. Preferred water parameters, the pH is just kind of right smack dab in the middle. Temperature 76 to 82. Marvelous fish, but you just got to get a big tank. Don't be one of those dingleberries that goes over to the fish store and gets 5 of these little guys or girls or mixed and puts them in your 40-gallon tank, and then a year later you're like, oops, I got some big fish and I'm going to bring them back to the store.
Yeah.
Yeah, don't do that, guys. Come on now. Come on now. You don't want to be an oceaneer making crazy bad decisions. You know what I'm saying? Let's make good decisions. So be aware. Big tank fish right there. Mr. Rumbust himself, who actually sent in a super chat earlier, gives us a little bit of a before, quickly followed by the after. Nice. Got me some aquarium towels from the pet store outlet, some drawers from IKEA, and I have to say, it's a good little upgrade here. Look at this.
This is
Look
a
at
good
this.
little upgrade.
We go from, the round table. We all have wonky little furniture that we stick fish tanks on. I mean, let's be legit, and let's not mince words. We all do this. We all take, hey, what's this old little thing? Look, a tank fits right on it. We all do that.
Go to this furniture store and you analyze everything by how much of a tank could fit on it.
Yeah, how much weight can it carry? How much weight can this hold? Huh? And the people at IKEA are like, what? What are you talking about? Get out of here.
You're supposed to put a plastic plant on it.
Yeah. Rumbus passed on says, today I ordered a replacement for the right tank that's a home-built acrylic. Oh, okay. So the tank on the right is a home-built plexiglass tank. So he ordered a replacement to match that one, I'm guessing.
I was about
the
to
new
say.
tank will be the same height as the left one, but the same width as the light, balanced on top of the right tank. 16 by 12 by 14 inches. Some cable routing hiding left to do. Speaking of imperial versus metric, would love if you could include both of your videos for temperature and lengths. Oh, you guys. You have to convert everything for you? Okay, maybe I will. I'll try. I'll see. I don't know. I might fall asleep because I'll be so tired.
There's only one really easy conversion for length and for temperature.
What's that?
Length, 0 is 0.
Yeah. Oh, that's true.
Right. That's a good one. And then for temperature, -40 is -40.
-40 is -40. I know that one.
Other than that, it's all math and it's terrible.
Maths, bros. He says, I can never seem to get a feel for your Fahrenheit. I'm far too slow converting feet and inches, so I miss content while I'm trying to do the calculations. I get it. I wish the world could all come together, and I'll do what I can. I will see.
We're in the wrong with the inches and the feet and the pounds. And
we're doing it wrong here in the U.S. Now, here we go. I've got the chat up on here on the screen as I scroll through it wildly. You guys can see all the green names from all the people that have joined up and they become members. You guys can see this is my chat action. Watch this. Chat. Can I type today? Oops. There. So just leave the chat up here for a second. Answer a couple questions for the last couple minutes. Let's see if you got anything for Jay.
Yeah.
Anything for me, and we shall see what's happening. Bentley Pascal says, stand, build, go. Mike has been breeding clowns for many years. He's got it down from Lumpy Dog. Yeah, you know how that is. You know what I'm talking about. Yeah, I agree. Mike has been doing a lot of good stuff for years. I like Mike, and I hope we can hang out again sometime soon. But I think those guys are all going to the Aquashella, and I don't know about any of all that because I'm not going.
That's too far away.
I don't know that it's too far. It's too much money. It's way too much money for me. And if I'm going to, honestly, you guys, if that cuts into the show production budget, it's way too much money to cut into the show production budget, A. And if I'm going to, cut into my vacation time budget.
Right.
I am literally taking Vicky and we're going to Hawaii and we're going to lay down on a beach and go to sleep.
Right, exactly.
You know what I mean? So, I don't know. Dave Diaz says, I don't like silence either. Brown, pink, / white noise. I guess that
What is
might not be much of a different than a tank. Okay, yeah, I guess that would make sense because they're talking about
what's pink noise?
pink noise.
Yeah.
So white noise is like pink noise is like and then what's the other one? There's black noise sounds like a TV out of, you know what I mean?
That's 60 hertz.
Like the
sound.
HBO beginning one. Yeah, they're all. It's just
Yeah.
all different.
Okay.
Yeah,
All right.
it's all. Yes, you're correct. It's different hertz. Yes, that's what I was basically getting at. Instead of just making noises with my mouth like an idiot.
Oh, Bentley asked, what fish do I not currently own that I want to own the most?
Ooh.
I think I want a Scootin' Fruity Puffer
Oh yeah.
because I'm not someone who has big tanks.
They're so cool, and thank you to Preston for making that happen.
Yeah.
Now keep going.
They
Continue.
have personality. They're like a little dog inside of the tank, right? And they're not too terrible to plants and stuff, so you can still have a planted tank. Right?
I don't think they do anything to plants.
Yeah, it's not like a cichlid where like you could like an Oscar might have the same amount of personality as a Scootin' Fruity Puffer. It might be about the same size, but you can't have any plants with them. And I like having like jungles within the little guy that pokes his head out and sees you. The only thing would be I can't keep shrimp with them, but that's what the sump is for. The shrimps.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, I think I'd want to see like my dream tanks would be 2 tanks on top of each other. One of them is a sump, and you just ignore the like foot on the left and the right, and you just have like a 2-foot cube in the middle, and then above it you have a 4x2x2 120. So you have like a 120 over a 120, and your sump action happens on the outside of the bottom 120. You just paint it black, and then you have a little 60-gallon cube in the middle that you treat as another tank.
Mm-hmm.
And then you have your 120 over your 60. And you put Scootin' Fruity in one and the shrimp in the other.
Oh, so shrimp in the bottom.
Yeah.
Yeah, you don't even need to do all that. You can just have the shrimp in the bottom like I do. You don't even have to make a crazy
Well, I just
custom
do it so
thing.
you can look at it. Yours are functionally identical to that.
Yeah,
So
but I don't like looking at things that are on the ground. I have rules. You know, it might not be a smart rule.
my wife thinks I'm so weird because I just like lay there staring at my fish tank. Like,
I'm
what
just
are you-
kidding.
What are you
know.
looking at? It's like this shrimp. He's going like this, doing this thing.
Right, right. Where did that go?
They're asking a bunch of questions.
Well, Genius Jasper was saying he skipped a question on the Patreon. I wonder why. I don't know. I'm the only one that we didn't get to was Thor, which
I think there was an RO water one.
was there?
There's one about like RO water in a room that's being painted.
Did I miss one? All right, hold on. Okay, because there's Rumbus. Oops, I didn't hit the little heart on here.
Sopa Loco.
Heart.
I built my own CNC, self-designed, bought all the parts by scratch, built all of it at school when I was in engineering school.
Howie.
It's huge. It's like 12 feet. It's the same size as your car. So, yeah. Don't do it if you're actually not going to use it. Because I built it and now I don't use it. Because it costs as much as a car too.
Jasper? Oh no, we missed this one. I clicked the like button and then I didn't know what happened. All right, good call, guys. This is why we have more than just one person operating this madness. Jasper Craze, hopefully I'm saying that right, probably not, says I use an RO filter for water changes and I can only use one faucet to connect the filter to. The room with the faucet is now being painted. Is my batch of RO water ruined because of the paint particles in the air/water? Well, I would say if it's connected up to the hose, I really don't see a problem here. You know, there really shouldn't be. I mean, the paint fumes shouldn't be getting into the filter. It shouldn't be getting into the plumbing. You know, I would expect it's fine. I wouldn't leave anything...
I wouldn't leave an open top.
I wouldn't leave like an open topped like still water container. You know what I mean? Like if you had like a garbage can full of RO water, like I wouldn't leave it just sitting in the room like that. But I've painted around my fish tanks a lot. And I bet some particulate and stuff like that got in there, and I just never really had any kind of an issue. Especially with, interior rolled-on paint these days, it almost always has, like, really no toxic fumes in it and stuff like that. So,
yeah, they got really good at the super low VOC situation.
So I really wouldn't be that concerned about it.
I've been in some houses that were painted, and 6 hours later, you can walk around in them, and they're just fine.
I've painted them.
My job is selling them, so
I've painted them and I was fine. Just wearing a dust mask. You don't have to wear a respirator anymore.
Yeah.
We're not even required. We're not even required by OSHA or anything like that to even wear the respirator anymore. Just particulate is all they're really worried about. As far as rolled on and all that, some sprayed on stuff, but most house paints, no. Like, there's really just not any toxic stuff in there anymore. They just don't let them put it in there.
Yeah.
To begin
they
with.
just don't want it in there anymore. Because there's enough of it just going into dumps and stuff. They don't want that going into dumps.
Uh-oh. Preston John says, "Wish granted. Pick up your puffer at the AGA in May."
Oh, no. I only have a 12-gallon tank.
Well, we'll have to whip your legs and make you get a bigger tank.
That is.
By May.
By May.
So you have to move by May.
I have to move by May.
Yeah, get a house.
Yeah.
Hurry up.
I know where they all
Do
are.
it.
I know where they exist. They exist around here. I could be your neighbor. There's a house for sale, like right over there.
Yeah.
I
Across
always,
the street.
wherever I go, I look.
There's one. Yeah. Right up the road.
Yeah.
We'll talk about that off air. No one cares about the house
No worries.
sale on this. There's a house for sale, and no one knows where it is or has ever seen it or anything like that. Isn't that cool, right, guys? Yeah, welcome to the show where we talk about stuff that you can't even, like, put it on or nothing. You don't even know what's happening. Do you know what a house is? It's got a roof, windows. Oh, my God. Bentley is asking, I have about 40 Amanos and a 20 long as a cleanup for rainbows. They just get the extra food and keep the plants clean. Busy little buggers. Yeah, they kind of do work. I know who could do more work, and that's Bentley. He could do more work than Amanos in a short amount of time.
Yeah, Bentley.
Hard times, right? Let's see. Happy belly button. Let's see. Big D Smokes, is it your birthday?
Oh, well, happy birthday.
Rumbus says, what's the strangest tool you regularly use or have used in your aquariums? Toothbrushes don't count. We got to 3D print some super long toothbrushes.
Oh, I use we could do that. I got a new 3D printer. It'll be here in between 8 and 50 days.
8 and 50 days, somewhere between there. It's on a boat.
I use a screen door frame tube because it's like the perfect diameter to fit over the handle of a toothbrush. Like the cheap 25-cent toothbrushes. And then you can have a toothbrush that's like 6 feet long. It works really, and it's stiff. It's really light. It's made out of aluminum, so it's not going anywhere.
I don't like that. That's awful. That's the worst. I'm just kidding.
I think the best tool I've made is I took a piece of airline. I drilled a hole through the brush of a toothbrush, cut the head off, took a piece of airline and put that through that hole. Okay. And then put the airline, wrapped it around a stick. This was before I had the screen door thing. And then you can start the siphon and start brushing stuff, and it just sucks it right up into the airline as you're brushing off all the blackbeard algae off places. It's really nice. Just like a little vacuum cleaner for your blackbeard algae brush.
A little vacuum cleaner action.
Yeah.
I dig that. Alyssa was asking, could you CNC small pleco caves for dwarf claro plecos?
I don't think it's the right use of the tool, but you could 3D print them.
You could.
And I'm getting a new 3D printer because my other one is 12 years old, and it's too old.
That makes sense. Oh, man, we're late.
We're real late.
All right, you guys, we got to get rocking and rolling. Thanks for coming out today. I got to turn this off. There we go. I'm going to move Jay over here. Watch this. Move Jay over to this corner. Watch this. Technology. What? Move his name. All right, fine. Whatever. The computer wants him to be right there. That's Olivia right there. Big shout out to Olivia. Big shout out to Jay for coming out today. Thank you very much. Big shout out to everybody on the Patreon. Big shout out to everyone in the chat. Big shout out to everyone that hit the like button. You better hit the like button and give it a share because you want to encourage us either having guests on here or not having guests on here. Have a vote, okay? You get to vote. You get to do whatever it is that you want to encourage as far as the behavior goes around here in the degree of if you want guests on here, hit the like button, share it out, go to Facebook, hit the little share button on there, and automatically will just make a little post for you. Super easy. So if you want guests on here or don't want guests on here, let your vote be heard. Blah, 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 all that kind of stuff. If you want to encourage guests and things, and if you want to encourage me to keep working on the studio and working and staying up all of the time and constantly working and going and driving to Oregon so that I can go talk to the fish group there and trade some shrimp stories and all that kind of crazy stuff, right? That's where you guys come in. So, vote with your madness. Vote with your craziness. Let's just get it going. It's Friday. It's time to go for the weekend, and we're going to say thanks to Big D Smoke for becoming a member. See, that's how you could do encouraging behavior. You can become a member. We're up to 66 members now, you guys, which I would have never even thought we'd even hit that number. Let's load this thing. Let's see what it has. Community. We have to open the community tab, and then we have to go to another tab, which is over here. I heard your phone buzzing.
My watch buzzes.
Yeah.
Yells at me.
Oh, no. We're down to 63 members now. Never mind.
Oh, no.
I got super excited, you guys. We're at 63 members. I don't know what happened.
I have like 6 YouTube profiles.
Smart. But Mark Potoroff with a super chat. Aaron DeSena with 2 super chats. Big D Smoke with a super chat and a membership today. Rumbus with a super chat. Nebraska SXHC with a super chat also. I believe once you become a member, you get to dish out free super chats or something. I don't know. I've heard a story about that. Anyhow, I'm losing my voice. I got to go. You guys have a fantastic weekend. Do whatever you got to do to get the weekend thing going and blah.